We're back here at Masters Radio. We are privileged to have Matt Scannell of Vertical Horizon helping us out today, telling us a little bit about the music business. Masters Radio is building a music community focused on the artists like Matt and Vertical Horizon, who were first popular more than 20 years ago. We've learned to fill some gaps in the experience for both artists and their fans. Corporate benefits, for example, that most of you listeners can get, but these artists can't, like healthcare and good financial advice and opportunities. We're putting that together for them because it is all about the artist. And you're going to see a lot more from Vertical Horizon and other artists of the Masters genre, the Masters timeframe in upcoming interviews. So without any further ado, let us talk with Vertical Horizon's Matt Scannell. So as I understand this, I've seen your new album from like 2018 because that's kind of our point. We're only playing the new music from artists that were established 20 odd years ago. And you guys just made it,
Wow.
with the Vertical Horizon album, as far with
Right.
3 hits, I think, that album, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, it's coming out in vinyl
Yes,
in
it has.
August.
It has actually come out in vinyl, I think, once or twice before over the years, although uh, it's been a while. But this one is the sort of the 25th anniversary, celebratory pressing, and there's a lot to be honest with you. There's a lot to celebrate as far as I'm concerned. I can't. On the one hand, I can't believe it's 25 years, which of course is a massive cliche thing to say. But at the same time, I also know that I've been there every step of the way. And when I do think about it, it's like, oh man, yeah, this has been quite a journey. So yeah, we're celebrating it, and Sony RCA is helping us celebrate it with the vinyl pressing, which is fun.
That is fantastic. So in your view, what is the recent interest in vinyl?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. If I were to guess, I would say it's like we have such a sort of microwave culture with content and music specifically nowadays, where we just put it on for 10 seconds and hit start, and then that's supposed to warm you up and get everything ready and delectable. But I think that as a result, we're all craving the opposite experience, the slow farm to table, slow fashion, experience of cleaning a record and putting it on and sort of just letting it be a focus, letting it be something that earns its place in our space wherever we are. I also think it can sound an awful lot better than a lot of things, a lot of the other formats. So, you've got this sort of at least three-tiered, three components to it. Um, for some of us, it's also very nostalgic. This is what music was when we went to the record stores in the 70s and the 80s for myself. And so it's fun to have a big thing, that has, artwork on vinyl really presents itself as artwork. A little thumbnail on Apple Music or Spotify, it doesn't give you the same experience at all. And that's cool because they both have I think, their uses and applications. Um, but vinyl is a little bit more, it's intentional. I think that's the word I'd settle on. It's intentional. We're gonna listen to this record, and we're gonna listen to it front to back or back to front. Which means being aware of your role in the continuation of this little body of work.
That's an excellent way to put it because I would agree. Obviously, that the part about it being a larger format, so artwork and liner notes, those are
Yeah,
crucial. Probably to
totally.
you, it certainly was to us. In fact, we fancy ourselves as the new liner notes creator because with the music we post, we tend to have to put backstories and things like that, and there'll be something similar like that for you guys
Oh, great. Oh, great.
when
Thank
we
you.
finish this posting. And so and Amanda's been great about sending us the content we need to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the fact I just got a record player, the first time I have had one in decades,
Mm,
and my wife wanted to play some of the old records I had,
right.
and I forgot, you got to flip the record every 15 minutes, you
Yeah,
know, 20 minutes.
yeah.
And so the intentional that you just said, that is the word.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
go to the store, you're going to put your hands or get it from the Columbia
Yeah.
Music House or whatever. You're going to get the
Yeah.
record. You're going to open the record. And if it's a gatefold, you got artwork on four sides
Yeah. Yeah.
and then listen to it. So it's starting to, I'm starting to get it when I saw the guys in Metallica bought a record pressing plant not far from
Mm.
us. We're in the DC area.
Oh,
And I thought, what
nice.
the heck were they thinking?
Right.
Because I grew up with vinyl and then turned to CD. Actually, had a record store in the CD revolution. And we all were touting how wonderful their dynamic range was. You got so much
Mhm.
more music on
Right.
a CD and nothing could happen to it. And it played start to
Right.
finish.
Right.
It all sounded great. But then again, over the years, you're right, intentional again. You hit the button and you walk away.
Right.
You
Right.
feed the dog, you bake a cake, you do something else, and the music has become
Right.
background,
Yeah.
which apart from not playing it at all, is probably the worst thing we could do with a Vertical Horizon album.
Well, you know what? I love that you said that. I'm not entirely sure that I agree, only in that music is the soundtrack to our lives. So who's to say that we shouldn't just be living our lives while we're listening, living our lives while we're listening to music and having other experiences and your best friends in town, you haven't seen them for a long time, and you put on a record. That record will probably mean more to you next time you listen to it because you remember that your best friend was with you and you were having that really great catch up, during that time. So I think there are probably elements of I love it when people listen to a whole song. I'm at that place now where sure it'd be great if you listened to the whole record, but it sure would be nice if you just listened to a whole song to let there be an arc from beginning, middle to end. It's the 15-second snippets of things cut up and that consuming music that way that is less resonant for me. Um, but yeah, I think music is just the soundtrack to our lives. So, however, it's better to have music going on than it is to not. Let's put it that way.
I fully agree. Yeah, and you're right about it being a soundtrack to our lives. That famous quote from David Lee Roth who said, "Music is a little jar in which we put our memories."
That's great.
Because yeah, you're spot
Great.
on in that when your friend comes over and you listen to, you know, you're a god,
Right.
and so that was the last time I listened to that this morning. But I was trying to think of the
Mm.
last time I heard that song. Where was I? And I
Right.
knew because our
Right.
memories work that way. Music is a fantastic
Yes.
reconnector. Memories. A lot of
Yes.
people studying Alzheimer's are finding that to be true. So I
Yeah.
think intentionality seems to be the core word there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can play music and should most of the time. There should be,
Yeah.
I forgot who said it, but music decorates time the way art decorates space, and
Mm.
so,
Oh, I love
we should
that.
always have music going, right?
Yeah.
So I really wanted to figure out, hey, are you getting on the road? And what was the last time you guys were on the road?
Well, for us, we tour constantly, but we generally
Oh,
do
you?
sort of long weekend things that are not, you know, it used to be we'd be gone for 9 weeks, and we
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. And I'm happy that we don't do that anymore. Um, we do little chunks where we're gone for say like 3 long weekends a month or 2 long weekends a month, and it's a nice work-life balance. And we've all got other lives sort of outside of Vertical Horizon to a greater or lesser extent, mine to a very less extent. But yeah, but we're touring all year long. We don't we're never kind of off per se. So yeah, after this, we're doing a tour this summer with Gin Blossoms and Toad the Wet Sprocket in August. That'll be a lot of fun. But we're doing shows before then, and then we'll be doing shows through the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to the Toad Wet Sprocket, a band I adored. Them,
Mm.
you, and Live were the bands that
Mm.
I was listening to right in that time
Oh,
frame when a lot of their music came out. It's
yeah.
just it's fantastic songwriting,
Oh, yeah. Those
you
guys,
know.
both those bands are tremendous. Yeah.
You guys, you too.
Uh,
All the stuff I've listened to Go, listening to the last album,
Thank
all of
you.
the two goes, and it's fantastic stuff. And we've had Will Turpin of Collective Soul on here, and I say the same about Ed Roland and the other guys in his
Mm.
band. And
Yeah.
they just did a 30-song album. You want to talk about intentional?
Yeah, that's amazing.
the double record. You got to get in
Yeah,
there and play all of it. And
yeah,
it's just, so I'm seeing this comeback in vinyl that
yeah,
really is fantastic. Um,
yeah.
Again, it's part of me, it rubs me the wrong ways. I'm thinking, we're losing 15 to 20,000 cycles of fidelity by going to this format. It's really, frankly, it's a terrible audiophile format.
Yeah, yeah,
But there's something about what you said that makes up for that. And with, I don't want to say any names, but those guys in Holland that compress the music so much, um, you know, uh, they have undone any benefit to digitizing music, in my view. I mean, and
yeah.
so listening, I was
I can
listening
hear you
to
on
the
that.
wall. One of the records my wife put on, an old America Greatest Hits record. And I'm hearing stuff I didn't hear. And this is a turntable with its own built-in speakers. Why is that possible? And I realized
Right,
compression is there.
right.
It's really hurting things. So I'm delighted that you guys are out there active all the time. That's part of
Yeah.
it. And frankly, it's one of the only ways people are going to hear you music until
Hmm.
more people know about us. Um, but it really is important for us to make sure they understand that of the bands that we're recording around the time this record came out, your Everything You Want record came out. Most of those artists, about 85% of them, are still touring.
Right, right.
And
Wow.
and so they're still making new music, and yet they're not being played anywhere. So
Right.
if it's comes down to putting out an album to do something different, to get artwork together, to bring back people like Roger Dean and all the
Mhm,
great album art people over the decades,
mhm.
and say, yeah, this is a medium, and this mattered.
Right,
I think
right.
that's a fantastic job on your part. So I'm delighted that you're doing it.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. So what's coming up? We talked about the past a little bit. What's coming up for you?
Yeah, so I'm working on two new records for Vertical Horizon, which is exciting. They are taking a little bit longer than I would have liked for them to have taken. Songs, I think, sometimes are like little beings that hide in the shadows and they're scared to come out. And they're kind of just looking out at you. You catch glimpses every now and again, and yeah, yeah. And then you kind of like start assembling, like making a safe place for them to sort of raise their face out a little better and more. Um, the pandemic was a really unproductive time for me as a writer. I tend to write about very small moments, very small interactions, quiet, quiet sort of beats, emotionally speaking. And that was such a time of huge chaos and and such big static out there in the world and such jeopardy that it really just it wasn't my time to be productive. I know other people found it to be a very productive time for them. And so now I'm I feel like my wave, everything is a wave, right? So my wave is cresting again, and I'm happy to be back into that sort of cycle. Um, I don't know when they'll be out, but when I've told people in the past it's going to be out in the fall, like almost invariably something gets pushed back. So I'm not saying anything about when they'll be out, but I do know it's nice to feel at 54 years old. It's nice to feel like there are a whole lot more songs inside of me. It's nice to feel that there are fans out there and friends out there who want to hear new music from us. I mean, this career that I have, that we have, is not something that we deserve. It is not something that we have a right to. This is a privilege that is given to us by people like yourself, by fans and friends who literally carry us on their shoulders through this world. When someone buys a Vertical Horizon T-shirt, they're putting gas in our truck, helping us to get to the next gig. So none of this is an entitlement on our part, and we're very aware of that. So yeah, new music at some point, and certainly new shows all the time. We love playing music live. It's kind of the I always my one of my dearest friends in the world. He's like a brother to me. Is Richard Marks, and Richard and I always talk about it as being like a shot of vitamins. It's like you play a live show and you feel like you've got something running through your veins that you've been sorely missing. Now you're like ready to go. So yeah, we love that energy, and we cherish those moments on stage.
It absolutely makes sense. Now, you might guess that most of the people that I interview were considerably older than you and
Mm.
older than me as well. We had Lawrence Gowan, keyboard player for Styx,
Oh yeah,
on as
cool.
an early interview for us about a year plus ago. In fact, I'm interviewing him again Saturday. But he said it
Nice.
keeps me young. To
Yeah,
go out there
sure.
and see to play that for the fans keeps me young. On the subject of fans, are you finding any of them in the age group that there's no way in the world they heard everything you want when it first came out?
Oh, oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're at the stage now where we've got grandchildren who are coming to the shows. Grandchildren of original fans coming to the shows. And that was strange for me at first, I have to admit, when we'd be in a line and there'd be someone who would be a younger person and they'd say, my mom's a big fan or my grandfather's a big fan. That's just a strange shift, right? Going from I'm a big fan, but what you realize is that that means our music is part of their family's story now. So I mean, if that doesn't make you feel gratitude and humbled by that, I mean, it was the Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel, James Taylor, Carly Simon. For me in my household, Electric Light Orchestra, ABBA. Um, it was those bands in my household that my parents would play, and then then I carried on a love for. And so the fact that Vertical Horizon is somewhere on that journey as well is like that's fantastic. So yeah, so we go out and we see shows where we have shows. We did a show a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, and the whole front row was people who were definitely not born before 2010 and or 2008 or something, and they were just singing along to every song. They were right there with us. Again, like I come back to, it's a privilege. This is a privilege. This is a gift that we are given by people who take us in their hearts and propel us forward. So whenever we see someone singing along to a song of ours at a show, or just vibing on the music. You don't have to be singing. You can just be having an experience, being there with us, and just being sharing this moment, this energy that gets reciprocated, and we send it out off the stage, and then it comes right back to us, amplified from the people down front and the people out back. That's live music is a very precious experience. It unites us. It's a communal experience where we can come together and just throw some joy up into the air.
It's absolutely true. Yeah, but well said. And you get a double whammy of it by being one of the player there doing it live, but it's your songs. You
Yeah, I
wrote these
know.
things that are the
Totally.
magic that
Yeah, it's
people are,
crazy.
that's just so rewarding,
Oh my gosh.
is it to be
Yeah.
able to do that. So, you mentioned
Amazing.
Vertical Horizon movies coming. Any collaborations we should know about in Richard or anybody else?
Yeah, well, so Richard and I write together not infrequently. I wrote with him on his last record, Songwriter, which is an incredible release, just incredible release.
Yep.
And he's written with me on The Lost Mile and on Echoes from the Underground, the prior to Vertical Horizon records. And so he's one of my favorite collaborators. If I sit down with him, it's like, bring your A game, Matt. Bring your
Yeah.
A game because you're about to sit down with an Olympian. But yeah, I mean, I've been really loving just diving down inside of myself to find and try to fix some of the pieces inside of me that are broken. And that to me is a very insular process, and I'm very happy to have it be, as such. But it's always great to write with a friend like Richard. And I'll do it as much as I possibly can.
That's fantastic. I hope you'll forgive me for what has got to be not only a bad joke, but one you've heard before. Getting to write music with Neil Peart doing lyrics, that had to be a rush.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
No, it
sorry.
was
Yeah.
no, it was a layup. You had to take it. Um,
Yeah, that's right.
it was so I get emotional when I talk about Neil. It's hard for me.
I'll bet.
I miss him as we all do.
Yes.
But he was like my big brother. He was my favorite lyricist. and my favorite drummer in my favorite band of all time. And to have that sort of perspective, or to feel that way about him, and then to over time shift those feelings, not lose those feelings, but shift them to include dear, dear friend, um,
Yeah.
was just, I'm sorry, I get emotional.
That
Was just so deeply, deeply, deeply meaningful. And he showed up for me in ways that I can't even put into words. And I miss him so much. But what a talent! Like what a beautiful thing. I mean, I haven't been able to listen to their music for a very long time because I just can't. But I listened to Signals the other day, the whole thing, and just had a little, shed a little tear or two, but also was just able to just vibrate at this beautiful pitch with this music that I love so dearly. And he's it's an incredible loss. Uh, um, but what a beautiful thing that he left all those incredible books that he wrote, all that incredible music that he made, and for me that he made some music with me and with my band. I don't even know what to say about that. It was really an
it's,
incredible thing.
and as a songwriter, you've got to appreciate your words will be immortal, and his
Yeah,
are.
yeah, his are
And
absolutely.
that's
Yeah,
just, so that's just
yeah,
fantastic to
yeah,
have been able to do that. And like you said, make this conversion from idol to friend.
yeah. It's a
We get to do
big.
some of that too. Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah. There you go. I mean, that's
We're like gaga by some of the people we interview, to have
yeah, which
someone
is
like
great.
Three Dog Night on a couple few weeks ago, Grassroots
Right,
before that,
right.
so
Of
I
course.
grew up listening to your stuff,
Yeah,
it is
cool.
truly amazing.
Yeah.
Rob, our founder, gets happy birthday calls where cool Robert Bell sings him happy birthday. you know, so we grew up listening to you guys. Had the
Right.
liner notes open, had the album
Yeah.
on with the speakers
Right.
pointing to our ears,
Right.
so it was just such a big part of our lives to be able to
Right.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, let's see. We talked about the pandemic. Yeah, it was tough for you, but I'm glad that you're able to, re-collaborate and get out and do more shows, because I'm sure that's where some of the inspiration comes. Some of the things you're seeing as you're traveling around
Yeah.
and the like.
Although
So
I did have during that time, we did these streaming shows throughout the entire pandemic, and there was this small, well, pretty, pretty incredible group of people who would tune in every week, and I think we helped each other. I know they really, really helped me. We called it Thursday Night Therapy, even though
yeah,
we didn't always do it on a Thursday night, but that was a really special thing.
for
Yeah, but no,
yeah, for us as
being
Wednesdays.
able to
Yep.
being able to play the live shows again out in front of people is that's the greatest thing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So, all right, well, I'm going to let you go
Thank
because
you,
I know you've
sir.
got another call, as do I, but it has been a treat speaking with Matt from Vertical Horizon. The record, it's not a new record, but it's a new pressing, and it is vinyl, and it comes out, as I understand it, August 2nd.
Yeah, you can
And meanwhile,
pre-order it different places now. Yeah, but it's coming out streets
it
on
can be
August
pre-ordered
2nd.
now. We'll put a link for that in
Please,
there.
thank you.
You're doing a lot of like solo acoustic stuff in what looks like a guitar center, but now I realize that's probably your house. that you're in right.
Yes, yes,
So,
it's a space that I have where I can be loud and no one
and
complains.
never play the same amp twice. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's
right.
clearly, yeah.